Three. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya wal Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajmain. Amma ba'd. All praise belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the exalted, and may His unlimited peace and blessings be upon the greatest of the creation, upon His beloved Sayyidina Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, upon his family and upon his companions and upon all the awliya and salihin, especially upon our mashayikh of Tariqat, upon Sayyidina Abdul Aziz al-Dabbagh rahimahullah, and upon Sayyidina Abdul Qadir Jilani, and especially upon our blessed teacher Shaykh Ahmad Dabbagh, through whom we are benefiting and will keeping on benefiting through the wisdom and wise words and the methodologies and systems that you will be sharing for the next 10 days or so. It is all through this blessed personality, which you can see is through their teachings and through their affairs and through their love and compassion that they have for the ummah, that they're emanating to me and you, so that we can learn to come to connect with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with Allah Azza wa Jal. And that is fundamentally why you actually come here. For those of you who are here for the first time, you could have sat other places, you could have been maybe even just fasting as normal like you always do, but you decided that you want to actually spend your time in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the last 10 days. And there's various virtues which we'll go and talk about as well. Primarily, you sat here because you hear that you should try and find Laylatul Qadr. As Rasulullah mentioned, is that sit in the last 10 days, exert and increase your ibadat and worship, and find Laylatul Qadr in those last 10 nights. But really, the real benefit of itikaf isn't that you just, like for example, fasting isn't just fasting for the sake of fasting. That's not the purpose. So sitting itikaf isn't for the sake of just sitting in a building, in a house of Allah, so that secluding yourself. There's something more to it. It isn't just to get Laylatul Qadr, there's something more to it. And that is something that I hope to actually make you understand to more or less effect, inshallah Aziz. So our session really is going to be about the fiqh element, mas'alas, that basic masalas that we come across. And if there's anything I don't know, I will say I do not know, I'll find out inshallah. And then hopefully also some things that you can do. And I would like to also share 3 advice which our beloved teacher Shaykh Ahmad Dabbagh, they mentioned today, how to actually make a person accelerate themselves towards Allah on those qurbanenas. So there is a schedule which Brother Zafar has mentioned. There are sessions going on. There will be amals for you to do. So there's no lacking, there's no way that you can say, I am bored. That is one thing that I don't think I ever hear anyone saying. I can hear people saying, I am tired, but not I am bored. That's why inshallah there will be no boredom, because we will make sure of that. But so there are amals that you can do. There are knowledges that you intake. And there are azkars that you'll be reciting. But these 3 things, these golden gems that Shaykh Ahmad Dabbagh mentioned today, if you don't do anything, and if you just apply these 3 things, which I'll mention in the end, so I need you to, you know how they used to say stories, are you all sitting comfortably? Then I shall begin. That is what I need to do. I need you to sit comfortably. I need you to be attentive. And I'm going to keep it at the end so that it can keep you waiting. I like to do that so that you know what I'm going to be mentioning. So you know you're looking forward to something. So these 3 gems that Shaykh Ahmad Dabbagh mentioned today is absolute gems for the rest of your life. Even not just in itikaf, but even after itikaf, if you do, it is thing that will propel you towards the qurbanenas to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's from the prophetic teachings. Nothing else but from the prophetic teaching. That's what they do. So anyway, this is the part in which we need to know basic masalas. Definitions of itikaf is what is defined: to remain in the mosque in congregational prayer is held. That is where we try to be, where we can actually, if there is no congregational place taking place where you're sitting in itikaf, you're allowed to leave and actually partake in that jamaat. But these are just conditions. Condition of itikaf is that to be a sane Muslim, to be a Muslim first and foremost, to be sane, and then to be in a state of purity, to be free of any major impurity, and then final thing is that to make niyyah. So as you've entered before Salatul Maghrib, you should all make the niyat anyway. If you're sitting, the sunnah is that you should make niyat that I am sitting the sunnah itikaf for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the next 10 days, and that's it. Make this for the sake and pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I intend to perform sunnah itikaf for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's it. Khalas. I would make that intention, and hopefully when the azan will go, you'll be okay. That is the basic thing that you need to know about what to do at the itikaf. Now, the other element, for example, hudud and the regulation, that's coming in a bit. But something that for us to now participate for everybody, this is something that we try and actually make everybody choose. There are different levels of itikaf. Everybody's of different levels. That everybody's of different mindsets, of different abilities. What we want you to do is actually focus on one level. So hopefully you choose, this is level physical seclusion, this is level 1, level of itikaf, this is level 1. So if you think I can do this, then do this then. Make sure you do this for the next 10 days. What is it? Sit physically in seclusion in addition to remain in the boundaries of the mosque. What are the boundaries of the mosque? What we mean here, now listen carefully, is that when you go through these doors here, which we'll demonstrate a little bit later as the session finishes, there is a wudu khana, the place of wudu and going to the toilets. That is the first boundary. Whenever you need to go and relieve yourself, whenever you need to do wudu, if you're going to do some ibadat and worship, then what happens that you make intention that I'm going to relieve myself, Ya Rabbil Alameen, then you leave. And then come back in again, relieve yourself, do wudu if you have to, then come back out. That's the first boundary. Second boundary is that through the double doors there you can see that enters, there's freedom for you now, you're uncaged now. So 9-10 days you're going to see, you're just going to be looking through those doors and seeing how does the outside world look like. This is how it is. That's what you're going to be dreaming about. Anyway, that's the double doors there. That is freedom. That's another boundary. Third boundary is there's another double door just near the staircase here, which is another 2 English toilets and showers facilities. So there is another boundary where again you need to make intention to use, for example, you need to relieve yourself, if you need to do ghusl, you need to have the right intention to go in so that then you can actually utilize that and your sunnah itikaf does not break. Itikaf will not break. The third boundary is in the basements. Hopefully, I don't think normal brothers will be there, but teachers be aware as well as the public, there's a basement door down there, that's it. So try and actually make sure you don't go out of those boundaries. That's what they mean by make sure these boundaries, you stay within the boundaries, hudud. Now physically you see these walls, isn't it? You're sat here, you're enclosed in these walls and you see this roof. So what we mean is that when one of the first level of itikaf is that you should think that I have now brought myself from the outside world, and this is why I find it's amazing that the Rasulullah is teaching his ummah that sit itikaf once a year. He's teaching his ummah. What is he teaching? Is that whole throughout the year you've been engrossed in dunya, you've been working, educating, learning, family, friends and societies, everything. It has effect on you. It has effect upon you. It can wane you, it can drain you. You feel disconnection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from the deen. You can feel all this. So he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said is that, oh my ummatis, is that month of Ramadan come, the best of time, the best of seasons, and then in the last 10 days, seclude yourself so that the effect of dunya will start diminishing. It goes further away, and the pull towards Allah and Akhirah increases. That is the beautiful thing about itikaf. When you seclude yourself, is that, so now what's happening is that you have now forced yourself to sit, and these are the boundaries, these are the walls, these are the roofs. What you should be doing is that you should now think that, yes, physically I'm sitting at itikaf, but also this body of mine, these organs of mine, the hands, the feet, the private, the stomach, all these things, I should not now speak, touch, kick, whatever, any of these things in my body, I should not harm anyone by these organs of the body. I should seclude them. So if somebody is irritating you, say a good word, otherwise remain quiet. So so you should seclude your physical organs from any sinful and harmful engagement. For you, the boundaries are the limits specified by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala regarding the organs. So here is that So try to be extra vigilant. If somebody is irritating you, if somebody is saying something negative to you, just remain quiet. Don't reply back. If it's really, really repulsive, mention to somebody. Try your best. This is we're doing training here. So try your best not to use your limbs in any unlawful way. Similarly, is that now you physically seclude yourself in this quarter in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being as guest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, don't bring the dunya to you. Wow, okay, Brother Qais, what do you mean? Yes, you seclude yourself from the outside world. How do I bring dunya to you? We have, every single one of us has now portals to the outside world and to all the worlds. Everybody's got it now. And it's getting smaller as well. What I mean by these portals, you can get portals to even Jupiter and Pluto. You can get portals towards Makkah, Medina. You can get portals towards Japan, Brazil. Wherever you want to go, you can go. Whatever things you want to know, you can go. You can go to the shaitanic world and you can go to the nuranic world. Portal is the mobile phone. Believe it or not, you can go to the dark web, you can go to the light web. You can go recite Quran, go to the Makkah, Medina and recite your Quran and visit there and look at Medina Sharif, oh yeah, this is beautiful. Or you can do the other filthy acts as well. This phone, really, I'll tell you, be honest with you, is that unless you need it, hand it over to the admin. Use it maybe once a day. Hand it over. If there's any advice I can give you is that if you really want to feel and experience seclusion and being away from the dunya, hand it over. What I mean is completely feel as though you're away from the dunya, because this is the portal that's going to take you to your football, to your songs, to your movies, to your channels, to your girlfriends, to your boyfriends, to all the colleagues, to all the work, to everything. Just hand it over. Seclude it. Seclude yourself and hand it over. Don't let this portal take you out from this masjid. Let your mind, let your heart, let your bodies be inside here. Just hand it over. If there's an emergency that you need, yes, ask for it. You can think it. You can ask and you can call. That's not a problem. This is what I mean by don't let dunya, don't bring dunya in this building, in this place, in this masjid, in your own place, by this portal. And it is a portal. You can go all the way and you can connect to anybody who has an internet connection. Number 2, level. So if you want to do this level 1, then choose that. Try your best to do that. Number 2, engaging your body in worship and obedience. To engage the physical self, i.e., now you're not doing any harm to anybody with your organs of the body. Now try to do with these 7 organs of the body is try to do good. Try to do worship, prayer, muraqabah, dhikr, serve, create ease. Remember, it's the most important to create comfort and ease to others and avoiding causing inconvenience to them. This is more beloved than actually even whatever acts of worship you can do. If you can create ease to others, that is the greatest thing you could do. Why? If causing harm, what is the harm? This is a fellow Muslim. Have you not heard the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ? He stated that, imagine how honorable the Kaaba is. Everybody, you know how honorable. So what would you say? Now I'm going to pick on somebody now. And don't look down now, you're going to look at me. So everybody is, okay, brother, beautiful, he's looking at me, mashallah. So brother, is that, what would you say to that person who will punch the Kaaba? You'll be furious. You're angry, isn't it? Yeah. Fabio, I'm not going to ask you, don't worry, it's okay. We're going to have to choose new people. Brother over there, that's the one, yeah, brother, yeah. Yeah, that's you, yeah, I've looked at you, you've got eye contact, we've got eye now. You've got eye contact, we've done it now, you can't look away, okay? Not you, brother, not you, I'm looking at that brother over there, okay. What would you say to that person if he kicked the Kaaba? Na'uzubillah, I'm just saying, just give it, what would you say? Astaghfirullah. Brother next to you as well, how would you feel? What would you want to do to that person? Hit him? Shouldn't do that, but yeah, angry, isn't it? Now everybody agreement with me is that you wouldn't want to dare anybody touch the Kaaba in that manner. You'd want to beat them up, maybe swear at them, punch them, kick them, whatever, maybe even kill them. Let's not go that far. I'm saying is that you'd be angry. It's an expression of anger. Now, Rasulullah said is that that's the Kaaba, but Allah SWT does not become more displeased upon that person than even if you were to break the Kaaba not once but 15 times you're broken than that person who breaks the heart of a Muslim. If you are to break a heart of a Muslim, Allah SWT does not become more displeased upon that person than you breaking the Kaaba 15 times over. Not once but 15 times over. So how on earth can we think this ibadah that we're doing is that if you can create joy in the heart of another brother, give him some space, speak to him well, find out if he needs something, make ease and comfort for him, isn't that better? What to say about causing harm to him? So this is what we're saying is this is the prophetic way. This is the prophetic teaching. Even, for example, people are so overwhelmed they want to kiss the Hajar Aswad. Sayyidina Umar, he went and said, "Oh Hajar Aswad, you are just a stone. I'm only kissing you because of the fact that I saw the Messenger of Allah doing this. Otherwise, there's no need for me to do it. It's a stone." But people are fighting, hurling abuse, punching just to get to it. What good is that? So here is that each one of us now, imagine if I tell you now each one of us are more blessed than the Kaaba. Would you want to punch them? Would you want to swear at them? Would you want to actually hurl abuse at them? Anybody? No, you wouldn't. This is what you need to see, the honor of a Muslim. Every single one of us are more honorable than the Kaaba. So treat each other like that. And you'll see how good the mahal will be. So if you think you can do number 2, do level 2. Throughout the days, keep on actually engaging yourself in this. Level 3, to avoid worldly distractions. The purpose of itikaf is to seclude from worldly distractions and tune yourself to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whilst we may have stepped outside from the world, it's easy to bring the world inside. How? And I mentioned about the mobile phones. So please hand the phones over. Don't let, then somebody will come, have you heard that? Did you know the score? What score? You find out, did Liverpool win? Did City win? Did Barca? Did Real? What's the score? What's happened to this? Did you know the shares has gone down, has gone up? Leave it all down. I know some of you are still probably thinking Easter holidays, we've got till Tuesday. But shares are going up and down, you never know what will happen. Just ignore all that. You come here to seclude yourself from dunya. So choose one of those. Choose one of these level 1 to 3. There are plenty more rules. Just choose one of them. For novices, you can choose one of those rules. Okay, let's go back to the rulings, some more rulings. Though the misconception that people have, like you might have seen in your masajids and your elders, what they're doing is that they're all go in their own hut or their own tent or their own cabin and there's no communications whatsoever. You just stay there. Nobody's saying anything. So here is that it's not necessary for you to remain silent. But it doesn't also mean that you're being chatty as well. It's not necessary for you to remain silent throughout the period of the Kaaba. Rather, it's makruh, dislike to do so. One should speak good things and abstain from arguments and sinful talks. So what the rule principle is, as I mentioned to you as well, is that keep silent. And if you think you can say something better, then say it. Otherwise, remain silent. One rule, I'll stress this to everybody here who's here now, is that especially in this prayer hall, it should be pin drop silence. This is the place in which we worship, we do our salah, our dhikr, our ibadat and worship. This is a very, very honorable place. Here, treat it as if like it's a very sacred, venerable. Here, if you want to speak, go in the corridor, go upstairs, go in the basement, whatever. But here, there should be pin drop silence. If there's a session about to start, silence until the session starts. If the session finishes, don't start chatting away, talking away. Silent. Just remain silent. Don't say anything. Absolutely observe this, because Shaykh Ahmad Dabagh, they mentioned is that imagine the sanctity of the masjid, is that how honorable it is that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained to exact detail that how you even enter the mosque and the dua you enter, that you step with the right foot, put your right foot in. They went to the detail that you should place your right foot in, recite the dua, Allah aftah babu rahmatik, reciting the dua, put your right foot in. It means that he is saying is the detail that how precious the masjid is, that if you want the rahmah of Allah to descend upon you, he even told you the procedure before entering the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how to enter, adab and etiquettes. How to enter, your state of heart, how it should be that you're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to open the gates of mercy for you. If you're not asking to be immersed in mercy and being the guest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you need to show that reverence as well. You need to show that I am as a guest. I'm in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I am a guest. I need to now make sure that I behave and conduct myself in the best way. So in this place, please, in this main prayer hall, complete silence, pin drop silence. Unless you're asked questions, we do interact sessions, that's a different matter. But when these sessions finishes, when salah is over, silent. Number 2, it is recommended they have to perform the amals, which is mentioned inshallah, that you should be given or have been given or will be given the amals, what to perform in itikaf. If without valid reason one leaves the mosque, i.e. the boundaries, hudud which is there, even for a little while, intentionally or unintentionally, the itikaf will be broken. Hence why you need to make intention, proper intention before leaving. Even if 1 foot left the mosque, so even if 1 foot leaves and he goes, oh, what's happened? Again, he will break it. For this, he would have to do 1 day qada and do that qada, make up that 1 day anytime after Ramadan. If one intends to observe the Sunnah itikaf in the last 10 days of Ramadan, he should be present in the mosque like we've done before sunset on the 21st night of Ramadan, and inshallah is thereafter until Eid, and thereafter itikaf will end. If one is physically forced to leave the mosque during itikaf, then his itikaf will be invalidated. If one leaves the mosque for a valid reason, but on the way he's detained by somebody, now you might be thinking, how is this? Well, in those times there are places where they had no food facilities, so they had to go and get the food, or there was no place in which they can wash their clothes, they had to go far to wash their clothes. It can happen in those days, and even now, if there's no facility for you, then it's permissible for you to go and get it. So it can happen that you get detained or falls ill and then delays the itikaf will be validated. One may leave the mosque for the following reason. 1, to relieve oneself, to make wudu if it requires, that worship requires for you to do wudu. So you can't do wudu because of it's sunnah to be wudu upon wudu. That's although normally it's sunnah, but here it's not. You don't do that. Number 2, to take wajib ghusl and to get food if there's nobody there to provide it. Those are the 4 reasons why you can actually go and leave the premises. So 1 is to relieve yourself, to make wudu if it needs wudu, if you need to do wudu for that worship, to make ghusl if necessary, and if there is food, if there's nobody to give you food, then to go and get the food, then you can leave for that reason. The ghusl element here is that, please brothers, is that what you can do here, that many people will ask, maybe you're getting a bit sticky and sweaty, etc., etc. So don't wait for ghusl to be followed upon you. Already it's actually wajib upon you because you're smelly and you're going to cause distraction for others. So it's a serious matter, is that tahara shutrul iman, is that tahara, cleanliness, is part of iman. Also, another is a half of iman. So it's so important that you make sure that you don't cause taklif to others, and for yourself as well as others. So how can you get over this? Simply is that make intention to relieve yourself. There are 2 toilets and shower cubicles. Now I don't want everybody to spend like hours and petricuring themselves and doing your makeup, etc. No, go in the showers, take your toiletries with you, quickly shower and then come back out. Relieve yourself, quickly come back out with that same intention. Is that clear? So basically is that ghusl is not wajib on you, but you're feeling sticky, you're feeling irritated, okay? When you go to relieve, make your intention, I'm going to relieve myself, okay? Go there, quickly pour water yourself. If you want to use sabun, just quickly use sabun and shampoo, whatever. Quickly get rid of the stickiness and feeling, and then come out, and that will do. And alhamdulillah, you feel fresh, cleansed, no smelly, alhamdulillah, good. That is, it's a decorum. The hygiene is, personal hygiene is very important. So try to actually observe as much as you can. So this is one exception you can do. This is not necessarily because we're observing Jumu'ah here, so you don't need to worry about that. If one goes out to the boundaries of the mosque for any reason other than the valid reasons mentioned in point 6, such as for example, you just had sahri, you want to now rinse your mouth. Alhamdulillah, we have a sink there now. It's not a problem. Before it used to be. Now we've got no issue. What you do is that, okay, if you're gonna need to do wudu again for salah, then what you do is with the intention, I'm gonna go make fresh wudu because I need to do wudu, I need to relieve myself. Then brush your teeth at the same time. Go to wudu khana, brush your teeth, do siwak, do fresh wudu, do whatever you have to do, and come back. That's how you do that intention. You go out, make a valid reason for you to come back. Secondly, is that downstairs there's a wudu khana is mainly for the teachers and the guests. So if you're on this floor, or if you're staying the top floor, please use the main toilets facilities and wudu khana which is there. Downstairs for the guests downstairs, and also the people in the basement is for them. So please don't try to occupy that and use those. It's for those people who are in the basement and for those who are there. And upstairs, this level and upstairs is the main wudu khana and the toilets, 2 toilets which is there in the shower facility. You can use them. So if you need to brush your teeth, again, you need to brush your teeth, wash your hands, whatever, do it with this intention of going to relieve yourself or need to make fresh wudu, then you can brush your teeth and do whatever. If not, you can use this thing which is there provided for you. I've mentioned this bit as well, so about orders. If one is not in the state of wudu, okay, if one is not and wishes to do wudu for the sake of being in a state of wudu, this is not permitted. Okay, it's not just because I want to have wudu, I know being wudu is good, but here it's not permitted. For who sit in itikaf. So if you want to make wudu, so make intention, I'm going to do 2 rakat nafil, do that. Salah, or I'm going to recite some Quran, I need wudu, go make wudu, go and recite a few pages of Quran, and then this is fine, it's not a problem. So now we come to the virtues. So is there any questions still regarding itikaf? Anybody still confused? Any questions? Also online is that for those of you who sit in different massages, different areas, if you're at home, is that you set the designated area. If you're at home, if there's a room for sisters, is that if there's a room that you set. Now, if it's the case that you need to go to the kitchen, get your food, there's nobody there, you can designate the whole area, for example, that area, that corridor up to the kitchen as the place in which you can seclude, and it's not going to break your itikaf. Obviously, then the toilet will be the area, and obviously front door, back door, they will be the place in which it will actually break your itikaf. So if you're sitting at home, you just need to designate the areas in which you want to roam around, which won't break. And then the toilets obviously will actually be the place, one place, and the exits, for example, front door, back door, they'll be the other place in which you need to make sure that the itikaf doesn't break, that you don't go beyond those boundaries. If you're in another mosque, you're sitting in itikaf, those of you listening in other places, for example, in other countries, if you're in another mosque, again, ask the masjid, which is the entrance, which is the place, wudu area, which is the entrance. Those are generally the place in which the boundaries will be for you to sit your itikaf and not to go beyond that. So the whole prayer area will be allowed, but the wudu khana and the entrances, they will not be allowed. The other parts of the masjid, you should be allowed and permissible to actually walk. Yes, brother.
Do you mind going over the bit with Jummah?
Yeah, Jummah, because we're going to pray Salatul Jummah here, so there's no need for us to actually worry about if there. Basically, that if there's no place which is offering Jummah, if you're sat in the masjid where it's like, for example, in Arab world they have main mosque which does the Jummah, and there are smaller masjids, they don't offer Jummah. So if you're sitting at the kaf in the smaller masajid, then you're allowed to actually then travel to the bigger masjid to the offer Salatul Jummah and then come back. That's what it is referring to. Yes, brother.
It said like if you purposely break your itikaf, you have to do like this thing. What is it?
If you purposely break it, well, we're gonna get Uncle Iqbal on you, and then he's gonna really tell you off. No, I'm only joking. No, purposely breaking, meaning that if you purposely intend, then you have to make that up 10 days up after month of Ramadan.
Make that up.
The whole 10 days. Not just one, but 10 days. So if you now accidentally set foot, those boundaries, you actually set foot out, then you just make the 1 day up. You understand? But when you purposely then break it, then full 10 days. Gee. Okay, anybody else, any questions? Yeah. Okay, sure. So all the different rules. So simply, I'll just make it simple for you. You're in itikaf, you're in seclusion. Okay, you have to now remain in the hudud, the boundaries set by the administration. So hudud, in other words, that why we now what's the reason for these hudud, the boundaries, is so that you are now training yourself to stay out beyond itikaf. Is that when you go to the outside world, still also stay within the boundaries of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His hukum. Now you educate yourself that physically there's a boundary here. For example, the wudu area, that's a boundary. The two gates of the doors of the front, that's a boundary. There's another boundary which is to the other shower facility, that's another boundary. There's 3 boundaries. These boundaries you have to refrain from going out without a valid reason. If you now make sure that you have a valid reason that you need to relieve yourself, khair, you can make intention, you go, fine. If you have to do ghusl, make intention, fine. If you have, for example, another need, which is important, for example, there's nobody to give you food, you have to step out and get food, fine. Otherwise, you step out, your itikaf will be broken. That's the main thing that you need to worry about. Then the other element is that to engage yourself in ibadat and worship. Ibadat and worship. Now, if you can't do any of this, so that is basically effectively what you need to remember, rule-wise. Now, what do we do now? Ibadat and worship. Do I recite the Quran? Maybe some of you are on the 20th juz already, you want to finish the whole khatam of the Quran. Do I do tasbih? Or do I do, I don't know, any dhikr, muraqabah? All the things you can do, no problem. Not a problem. Now for those who are lazy like me, I'm a very lazy person, yes, I'm lazy. And those who are tired and I think, oh, tilawat is too difficult. Okay, zikr is going to be too hard. Okay, I don't do much zikr. There's 3 formulas that our Shaykh Ahmad Abab mentioned. How to accelerate yourself, not just in itikaf, but beyond itikaf. 1. These are accelerators. You know, when you got your gas, if you really want to excel, if you really want qurban nearness Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, these are 3 accelerators towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, according to the prophetic teaching. Number 1 is that wherever you are, this is through the thought level, the mind level, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, be in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with me, He's hearing me, He's seeing me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with me, He's hearing me, He's seeing me. If you bring that thought that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with me, hearing me, seeing me, if you're praying, think. If you're eating, think. If you're sitting, think like this. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, think like this. Not just in the masjid, but even when you go back home, be in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That will give, because why should I be in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Is that He has the power to give you everything, but He also has the power to take everything away from you as well. He can give you honor, He can debase you, He can do everything. Everything lies with Him. That is why you try to be in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here again, you come for namaz, you come for salah, Allah is with me, see me, hearing me. You're going to constantly keep on remind yourself of this. As you do now, you sat now, try to feel the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now many people say, what do you mean by presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? I've got some more time left. What do you mean by presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Brother Qais? Now just so that you understand this awareness and presence. Can we see? You see, can everybody see? There's one here. I think there's another one there. Do you see this camera, the security camera here? Yeah, you can see the security camera. Now through that, let's say the administration can see everything that you're doing. Yeah? And did you see these screens here? Now imagine I put let's say I put £10,000 here. £10,000 here. Nobody is here but you. And there's a camera there. Now, if you know the administration are looking, will you be tempted to take that money? Anybody? Anyone? I know you're all being pious and righteous. No. I'm not saying anybody be tempted? No. Why? Brother, why would you not be tempted? You've been watched. Okay, you've been watched. Okay, that's good. You've been watched. Okay, imagine you're now. Okay, now I'm gonna put £1 million. Put £1 million there. I know. Just imagine it's a figure. I know it's gonna be big, but just £1 million. That's somebody's mattress apparently he sits on it. But anyway, sleeps on it. It's over here, or entrepreneur. Anyway, £1 million here, there, and now also is that I've got a 100-inch TV here, and you can watch anything you want. £1 million, 100-inch TV, anything you want. Would you take the money and would you watch anything you want? Now I tell you that your parents are looking through that camera. What would you do? Would you be tempted? Brother, would you be tempted? No, not looking at you now. Yeah. Yeah. Nah? No, why? You're being watched. Everybody's going to use the words being watched. Okay. Okay. Now imagine, okay. I can't open it because we don't have more than £1 million, so we'll just leave it to £1 million. We're going to change the personality. Let's say, just for the sake of imagine Rasulullah is looking to that camera. Just for the sake of, just so that you understand that Rasulullah is looking to the camera. The money is there, the TV is there. What would you do? Brother, what would you do? If you knew that Rasulullah was looking through the camera, what would you do? You definitely would not take anything. But what would you do? If you had that, for example, what would you do? Now, if you know that Rasulullah is looking through the camera, you're on your own, what would you do though? Good. So what would be good? Anybody can help the brother? Huh? Put more money on the table. Very, very good. That's a good thing. That's mashallah. Fabio, we know Fabio is wealthy now. Okay, he has more money to give. Okay, brother, what would you do?
Have a conversation.
Yeah, yeah. Have a conversation. Brother, what would you do? So the question is that you got the money, you got a 100-inch TV, you can watch anything you want, and it's playing. You got the remote there as well. And the Prophet is looking at the camera. What would you do? We're saying that people are not going to do anything bad. They're not going to do nothing. But what would you do? But yeah, you okay. But what would you do? Turn the TV off. Why? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Brother, mashallah, there. What would you do? Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, so the TV obviously is going to be the part that distracts you, so you're going to be turned off.
Yeah.
So you can do something. Whatever you're going to do, then you think my action should be that pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay. So here, for example, maybe if you had the facility here now, forget the money, forget the TV. That'll be off. Maybe you might even smash the TV because you might not make sure there's nothing bad is doing that. But you get your prayer mat out, get the Quran out, get the tasbih. Rasulullah is saying, yes, I'm a good ummati. I'm probably doing tasbih and saying salawat on the Prophet. Yes, that's one. Because you know Prophet is saying, isn't it? You've all mentioned because you're being watched, isn't it? Because of that camera. It's ajib, isn't it? Because of that camera, we know we're being watched. This is what I mean by presence. Well, guess what? Forget the camera. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with you. He is seeing you. He is hearing you. He knows exactly what you're doing every single moment, every single second. That's the presence and awareness that we want you to have, that you're being watched. That is what we're talking about. So you do know how it feels. You do know. You just need a sign, a symbol, which is called a camera. Then you feel it. But your belief should be telling you, Allah Santa is Sami'un Basir. He is all seeing, He is all hearing. You are being watched constantly. So that is what we say about presence of Allah. Be in the presence, that He is seeing you, He is hearing you, He is with you. Then what happens is that if you try to be in this presence all the way, all the time, as much as you can. Number two is that what you do is, there are two good deeds that said Rasulullah said is that on the day of judgment nothing can outweigh them. No sadaqah, no tilawat, no tasbih. After your fara'id, after your fard, after iman, and after the fard obligation, nothing can actually overcome them. They are the most highest ranking of all. What is it? Is to remain silent. One of them is to remain silent, stopping useless talk, stopping yourself from saying anything harmful. Remain silent. When do you speak? Is when you know that you can say something better than silence, then speak. Something good, something pleasing to someone. Otherwise, keep quiet. That's what we mentioned before, keep quiet. So the first one being the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that will be accelerating you. Number two is that these are two good deeds that Rasulullah mentioned, that after your farad, after iman, and after your fara'id, there is no other deed that will actually superweigh very high on the scale than these two. And these are very easy to do. One, to remain long periods of silence. Be silent. When should you open your mouth? Is when you feel as though it's better to say something, it's good to say something, good. Otherwise, remain silent. And the third accelerator, which will help you to accelerate towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is that how you behave with us. Make sure you behave in such an attitude, in such a way that the other person becomes pleased with you, becomes happy with you, feels joyful, feels better after meeting you. That once they met you, they feel better. When they met you at work, they feel better. This is called good akhlaq, having a good conduct, good character with people. That is the second good deed that Rasul mentioned, that is outweighs everything else. To will a long periods of silence and have a good akhlaq and be in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wherever you are, whenever you are, inside the masjid, outside the mosque, at your work, wherever you are. These are the three things. Despite you not doing any tilawah, let's say you don't do any tilawah of the Quran, you don't do any tasbih, you don't do anything else. If you just do these three things, I can assure you that our beloved teacher they mentioned, if you do these three things, they will propel you towards the qurbaniness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is what your intention should be for in itikaf. To come close to Him, to come close to His beloved, to come close towards akhirah and our purpose and objective. So these are three things that you can do, my dear brothers and elders and sisters listening. Try and do that if you can't do anything. Just to schedule, for those of you who want to be aware. So if we take out Fajr Jama'ah is at 5:30, then we'll be reciting the Muslim Azkars, Q&A, if there's anything Q&A, usually there will be a Q&A. And at 6:15 to 12:15 you'll rest. 12:30 to 1:45 there'll be a teaching session, Marakas and book for today. I think you're going to rest till all the way till Zohr anyway. Then it'll be tomorrow, that is the Zohr Jamaat will be at 2 o'clock. Between 2:30 and 3 o'clock we'll be sat at Tasbih. 3 o'clock to 4:30 is the first discourse that will be delivered. For those of you, there may be a parallel session going upstairs as well. Then there'll be a break. 5 o'clock to 6:15 seconds, a discourse led by a teacher. 6:15 to 6:30 is Asr Jamaat. 6:30 to 7:45, obviously we'll have some nasiha, dhikr, or 5 amals, or halaqa of aqidah, fiqh, etc., etc. And then we have a maghrib, food will be served then. And again, Isha Jamaat is at 10 o'clock, and Taraweeh. And 12 to 1, short break, tea break, refreshments, then rest from 1 to 2:30. Durood Majlis will be at Tahajjud time between 2:30 and 3:30. Then we'll have our Sahri. So this is the schedule, all subject to change, but this is a general schedule for the 24 hours that we're going to be here for the next 10 days, inshallah aziz. And nice. So may Allah SWT bless you, help us all. Let's help each other to have a blessed and fruitful itikaf, where we achieve the qurbanis Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, shun the dunya away from ourselves and reconnect to Him, to His beloved and to the pious and righteous. Jazakallah jaza. Subhanakallah wa hamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.
Jazakallah Imam Qais. Imam Qais you'll be seeing again, inshallah. Inshallah we'll make our way up now for iftari, and the schedule is that you eat your full meal, and then we are going to come downstairs for read our salah. You'll hear the azan, when that will be your cue to quickly gobble up what you are eating and come downstairs for Maghrib salah, inshallah. So if we can in a nice orderly fashion make our way up, please. And I think there'll be some people, if there's not enough space left. जी
ये दिल तेरी रहमत का तू उस की खताओं को अताओं में बदल दे بدل دے جو اب مولا 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 یہ دل تیری رحمت کا طلبگار ہو مولا یہ دل تیری رحمت کا طلبگار ہو مولا تیرے ہی خیالوں میں گرفتار ہو مولا یہ دل تیری رحمت کا